Good to go. Oh, I cannot hear. All righty. Welcome, everyone. It is Monday night again, right? And I just love when we get together. So it's, of course, 7 o'clock in Phoenix. And so what does that mean? It means we're here for Insights with Alicia. So every week we gather to learn and connect, and I often say things and people always want to know more about it. So they really love the insight from the scientific psychic. And the truth is there are so many things that I've experienced that have transformed my life. And I love sharing these insights to help everyone, not just my clients. So I talk about relationships, our behavior, so many life skills that will literally change your life. And there are tools and ideas to support all of the changes we want to make in our lives. And let's not forget about the animals. I talk about them too. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Alicia Sweezer, owner of Who Knew Healing, and I'm an intuitive life coach, animal consultant and communicator, psychic medium, and intuitive mentor. And I provide healing and growth opportunities for people and animals. And for those of you listening as a podcast on Spotify or Apple, welcome. If you like the video version, please visit my YouTube channel under Alicia Sweezer or join me live on Monday nights, 7 p.m. Phoenix time. I would love to have you. And if you happen to be watching on Facebook and you'd like to comment, please join us by the Zoom link because I can't see the Facebook comments right now. So it's Monday night, right? Here we are. Hope you all have something fabulous to drink. I still just have water tonight, but I have this really cute, beautiful cup that my friend Debbie gave me for Christmas. Happens to be my favorite color. And it has a straw. She knows I like to have cups with straws around my computer. So it was very sweet. I love it very much. And she was very kind because with everything that's been going on in my life, Christmas has not even been a thought. So I didn't have a gift for her. She does not care. I don't have gifts for anyone at this point. It's taken a back seat to sort of everything else that's been going on. And if you were a part of last week, you know some of that. Should be less crying this evening. Okay. So I think we got all the bases covered, right? We're recording, we're live streaming, got all the stuff. Tonight, we are going to talk about inspiration. And there is some irony in this of what we're going to talk about tonight because I wasn't feeling inspired. I didn't have any ideas of what I wanted to talk about tonight, wasn't feeling inspired. And then I got inspired to write and talk about inspiration, which cracks me up. So it's pretty funny. And so the truth is inspiration, right? Sometimes it comes easy and sometimes it eludes us. And the more we think we want it, or the more we think we need it, the further away it seems. Inspiration doesn't like it when we cling to it, or at least that's been my experience. So what do we do when we've committed to something, right? We've committed to creating something, and now you have to produce that something. And when we are used to being inspired, not expired, it's funny. For some reason, I keep thinking I'm forgetting something, but I've clicked all the buttons. I've done all the things, but there's just something in my mind where it's like, you've forgotten to do something, but I don't think I have. So no expiration. We're here for inspire. So, what do we do? Like I said, when we've committed and we're used to being inspired to create that something. You guys have heard me talk so many times about like being in the flow. Like I don't try and force these things. If I try to sit down and do it, I can't. I have to wait for that feeling, and then it flows out in the words and whatever it is that I happen to be creating, it flows through. So when we're not feeling that flowing feeling, what do? Right? And it can be a little scary because we believe that that feeling is what lets us know we're on the right track. And a lot of times it does. Now, does that mean that you still can't create something? Nope. And I'm going to show you what we do tonight when we can't, when we're not feeling the inspiration. So, as I said, I get how ironic tonight's subject is because until late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, like about midnight to 1:30, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't feeling inspired. And with everything that's been going on, creativity has really taken a back seat. And talking to you guys every Monday night, it's not only my pleasure, right? I absolutely love it. It's so much fun for me. It's also part of my purpose. It's something that I've committed myself to do until it's no longer a match. Now, could I have taken a week off? Absolutely. And I didn't want to. I like connecting with you all every week. And the inspiration of what to talk about just kept being beyond my grasp. And there were some ideas that popped in my head. And even some of those were suggestions that you guys have made, which I'm super grateful for, but I just wasn't feeling any of those, right? I constantly talk about how much of a feeler I am, and I just didn't have it. And when we're pressuring ourselves to create something, we can then make ourselves even more crazy by the layers and the judgment, and it pushes our inspiration and our creativity even farther away because they're polar opposites. Okay, so what can we choose when we are not feeling inspired? Here are 5 things. Got 5. Okay, so the first one is we can choose to give ourselves a break. What? I know. Like I said, pressure and constriction and judgment and all of those what ifs absolutely do not help. I know this from experience. Way more than I would like to admit. So we can choose to walk away from it. And, I don't know a ton about human design. I've learned some. I happen to be a manifesting generator. And that is one of the things that I've really put into practice, is because as a manifesting generator, we are very much designed to follow what lights us up. Even more so, like you guys, I'm always teaching people, right? You got to follow what's light, follow the energy that's light. Manifesting generators, we can hop around and do different things because we got to follow what's light for us, because that's our path. That's how we create. And as someone who used to be very routine oriented, and I'm a massive planner, I have really, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Head injuries, grasped, or no, embodied. That's not even the right word, but it's closer. This concept. And it's just provided me so much more freedom, and I've created more, as you guys can see, right? In the last year, all of the things that I've created in this business is just amazing to me and has been such a ride and so much fun. So we get to choose to walk away. And if you're used to being a human doing, I was one, instead of a human being, this can be really challenging to choose. We think if we just sit at the computer a little longer, it will come to us. If we think about it more and more and stay on the hamster wheel, right? If we think about it more and more and spin on that wheel, the ideas will come to us. When we stay in trying to make inspiration, we are using force, and that isn't light and expansive. And I get it. I used to be this way, and I still sometimes fall in this trap. Do you feel the energy of that though? Do you feel the hamster wheel? Do you feel the layers that we put on there? It's so heavy and constricting. It's just not what we're looking for, particularly when we're wanting to be inspired. If you guys can relate to any of this, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. As I said, anyone listening on Facebook, if you do have comments, please join us by Zoom so that I can see the comments. Okay. And so the truth is that there isn't any space for inspiration. And I tried this on Saturday. I sat at the computer, nothing. And I was like, I need to get this done now because I have other stuff to do. And then the universe laughs because that's not how it works. And as us cute little humans, we think we are in control. And the truth is when we try to force something, it takes so much longer. Have you ever noticed when you're doing something, when you get inspired, how much faster it goes? Like time just flies by. And it was funny as I was writing this Saturday night, Sunday morning, it made me remember that this used to happen to me in college. And I didn't remember it till then. I would have a paper to write, as we often do in college. And I would try and try and try. And I would sit at my desk and nothing would happen. But something inside would just tell me it wasn't time. And that was really, really hard to understand as a college kid who has lots of homework to do and lots of papers to write, correct? You only have so many hours in a day. I need to write this paper now. And it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. And then on a different day, I would sit down and the paper would just flow right out quickly, which is pretty interesting when you're doing scientific writing because it's very dry. It's not English and pretty and flowery. It's very dry. And in those moments, it's really hard to have faith in yourself and the universe, because that's what's actually going on when we're inspired. to deliver what you need in the time frame that you need it in. And you want a good grade, dang it. Right? We want A's. So, so when you choose to take a break, it provides the space. Go on a hike, take a walk, do some chores. I know when I'm doing something else, ideas can easily pop in. That is one of the reasons I always liked mowing the lawn or cleaning my horse's stalls. It gave my brain something to do so that I could work on all the other things that were happening in the rest of my world. And I understand that if you are new to this, it can seem counterintuitive. How can I create more by doing less quote unquote work, right? I promise you it works. I promise. And if you can't come up with something, pick something from the happiness list to do for like 15 minutes. And for those of you, if you don't know what the happiness list is, right? It's a list of 40 things that I created to raise your vibration, shift you into a better mood, right? Because as we talk about being in those moments, it's really hard to think of those things. You can get your free copy by signing up for my newsletter or blog. You don't get a million emails from me, but that's where you get one. And I use mine all the time, particularly a lot lately. Okay, so what is the second thing? So the first one, right? Take a break, create some space. The second thing that we can do is we can choose to talk to other people. And how we can be inspired by talking to other people happens in two different ways. One is that we talk to people about what we are wanting to create. So for example, I will have a conversation about ideas for Monday nights, right? And I ask you guys for ideas too. And that's been amazing. I do want to take a moment and tell this side note story because I think it's so phenomenal about when I asked you guys for ideas. So I have two friends. They're both named Mary. And I've only had a chance to tell one of them this story. I haven't had a chance to tell the other one, but they are doppelgangers of each other. It is so crazy to me how so many things in their life are exactly the same. And that's important to this. I will tell you why, is that, a couple of weeks ago, I said to you guys again, I was like, send me some ideas. Like, what is it that we want to talk about? And I happened to be on the phone the next day with one of the Marys. And she said, why don't you talk about expectations? With the holidays coming up, it's one of those things. And I was like, you're right. I said, I could probably do a couple of Monday nights on that. And I kid you not, within an hour of getting off of the phone with one Mary, I pop onto YouTube to do some stuff with the videos. And my other Mary had written in there, how about you talk about expectations? And I was like, are you kidding me? The synchronicity that these two have, like I said, it's the whole doppelganger thing is just amazing to me. They are both amazing women. And, but that just cracked me up about how within an hour, they both had the same suggestion. So I know I digress a little, but I just think that's a really cool story. So we can choose to talk to other people, right? So the first way that shows up is we talk about the subject that we're wanting to create. Another way we can be inspired by talking to other people is by having regular conversations, right? Call your friends and see what they're up to and how they're doing. You never know, something they could say sparks something in you. You guys know, like some of the topics that I come up with here, it's been from meetups that I've been at, listening to people chat, conversations I've had with other people, things people have said to me. And then I create a whole, teachable moment on Monday nights from around that stuff. Because we just never know where it's going to come from. And if you happen to be a recovering control freak, like myself, it doesn't all have to come just from us. It doesn't have to come from our own brain. So, all right. The third thing we can do is to choose to pay attention when you're feeling inspired, even if it's just a little tingle, just that little bit where you're like, oh, what is that? And if you're able to take advantage of it and create right then in the moment, great. And if you're not, just make a note to yourself. It may be that you start to notice a particular time of day when you feel inspired. You may notice a certain activities inspire you. A certain temperature or season might inspire you. You guys know I hate the cold, so I don't know if that has effect on me or not. Not so far, still showing up on most Monday nights. And you may notice that certain people or certain music or anything inspires you. And until we start to get to know ourselves in this way, we simply don't know. And wouldn't it be great to get to know ourselves even more in that way? Because then you have a sense of like, oh, so like for me, a lot of times my own personal spiritual transformation work happens at night. Sometimes very inconvenient when I don't fall asleep till like 12:30 anyway, but say you're trying to wind down for the evening and the universe and your team is like, oh, no, we got stuff to do. You're like, really? I've been working all day. But I do it anyway because it's what I love. So, but I know that about me. I know that there's a particular time frame that a lot of my messages will come through. Does that mean that they don't come through at other times? No, absolutely not. I just know that my personal work, it happens at night because I am not a morning person by any means. Okay. So another one that we can do, and this is a big one, is when we're inspired, we get to choose to just go with it. There are so many times that I will have an idea for something like tonight or something else, and then I will get in my own way. I'm sure I'm the only one that does that. Nobody has any idea what I'm talking about. Because what will happen is I'll have this idea and then I'll go, oh, well, will it make sense to others? Will they even be interested in this subject? Do I have tools that I can give them for this? You feel all those layers? Does that feel expansive and light? No. Nope. Instead, what works best for me is that when I am feeling inspired, I sit down in that moment, if I can, and I start to write. And I just let whatever comes out, come out. And then it usually has all of the components that I like to have. We get to stop overthinking it. And as I said, I wrote this late Saturday night. Now, I could have ignored the inspiration feeling because I was kind of tired and I was like, it wasn't like this massive, strong feeling. And I was like, really? We're going to talk about inspiration? Like that's really it. That doesn't, what am I going to say about that? Because I haven't been feeling inspired, right? Well, but I followed it. I followed that little tingle. And so I sat and I typed everything and it all flowed out while I was throwing Pip's toys because he was awake and feeling playful. And so what I'm saying is don't run from your inspiration. I get sometimes it can be scary or we think, oh, it's not strong enough. This isn't really our inspiration, like I was just saying. And the truth is that it doesn't always show up at a convenient time. It really, really doesn't. So don't run. If you can take advantage of it at the time, follow it. Follow your intuition and your inspiration. And like I said, it doesn't mean you have to create it all in that moment. Take some notes, write it down, tell your ideas to another person. If you can, receive the energy of it, and then it will manifest into whatever it is that you are creating. That's the first place, right? That first step is receiving it. Okay. So lastly, we can choose to have an idea list because sometimes trying to come up with things cold can be really, really hard. I have a couple of books that are all like books of questions that I sometimes try to use. They haven't quite produced anything yet that I would like to talk about, but one of them's like this book of like 3,000 questions. And so sometimes I peruse that and see if it sparks anything. And when you're having those sort of moments where you just aren't, you believe you aren't feeling inspired, having a list sometimes helps. And the truth is like, I have a few topics that have been brewing. I know there's a couple of you on here, we've got one. I thought maybe I was going to talk about the confidence thing. There's this, how I see confidence is different than how a lot of people do. And I talked about it a really long time ago in like an email that I sent out to my email list. And then it sparked a conversation, and there's more to be talked about in there and more to be taught. And I thought maybe, but that wasn't going to happen this week. I decided to talk about inspiration. So like I said, there's always a few that I have brewing around in there. And it's like, I have to wait for them to finish cooking is kind of how I see it, and wait for them to be the right time and the right place. And the few that happen to be brewing are just more, like the expectations. Like I said, there's at least 2 weeks worth in there. And I did, after you guys suggested it, I did sit down and write. I have like a page written because I started with expectations that we have on ourselves. And that's as far as I got. And the file on my computer is literally titled expectations, fucking expectations. So there's still a lot in there to work through and look at, and it's just not cooked yet. We'll come back to that one. So, and as always, if you guys have ideas, I always want to know. So the important thing to remember is that inspiration never abandons us. It may elude us because we are not providing space for it and we're not doing anything wrong in that moment, or we're trying to force something, human doing versus human being, but it never abandons us. So that fear that it's never going to return, or it was a one-time thing, because if you have ever been inspired, that feeling is just amazing and we want more and more of it. So believing it was a one-time thing or it's never going to return is a lie. It's an absolute lie. So you get to let it go. You get to breathe and receive what you've been asking for, because inspiration is there. I promise you. Our human kind of gets in the way sometimes, but you can use five of the choices that I gave you tonight, or I'm sure you guys even have others, and it will open the space up for what it is that you want to create. So that is all for this evening. That went faster. I feel like I talked like really, really fast tonight, faster than usual. But I was pretty excited about all of this. And I was so happy to see you guys this week. Less crying than last week, right? I know you guys don't care and you love me and you don't judge me. But last week was a little rough. It's a little unexpected and a little rough. And I still wanted to share with you the authenticity of what it looks like when we're going through something and when we're using all of the tools that I talk to you guys about on every Monday night. It gets us through it. It's not pretty, it's not easy, but they do help. So thanks for joining. I love seeing you guys every Monday night. Join me next Monday. And oh yes, right. So I have an event coming up. Oh my gosh, it's Monday. This Sunday. There are a few spots left. It's called A Date with Spirit. You don't want to miss it. I only allow 8 people into this event. It's by Zoom, so super easy. You don't even have to leave your house. It's a 2-hour event. Like I said, that I only allow 8 people in, and there's very particular reasons for that, because there's a synergy and there's an intimacy that gets created, and you get to come and ask your questions. Everyone usually gets about 15 minutes of time, and the event includes mediumship. If you want to connect with someone who has transitioned, it's for any questions that you have about your life right now, right? We're going into a new year. What is it that we want to create? You can even ask questions about your animals. The details are on my Facebook page or website, whoknewhealing.com, new with a K. Sunday, December 18th from 6 to 8 Phoenix time. It's $35 a person. Believe me, that is a steal and a bargain for getting time with me. And like I said, it's a really cool thing when it's a small group like this. And not only will you get your questions answered, but Spirit many, many times delivers answers to other things you may have through the answers of other people's questions. And so that's where a small group like this just provides the opportunity for so much more. So sign up, message me, email me if you got questions. All right, everyone, that is all for this evening. It went by so fast. I had a great time. Join me next Monday. As always, if there are people that you want to share this with, the video will be loaded to YouTube tonight under Alicia Sweezer. Subscribe, share, like it, all of the things so that it gets to more people. And if you feel like listening, it'll be loaded to the podcast platforms this evening as well. And as always, thank you to everyone who has donated to my Cosmic Tip Jar. It allows me to create more free things like this. If you choose to do so, the links are in the information. And as always, if anything I talked about makes you want to learn more, reach out, choose something different, book a session. Let's see what we can create together. You guys have a great week. I will see you next Monday. Have no idea what we're going to be talking about. I will be waiting for inspiration to strike and doing everything possible to create the space for that and putting my human doing to the side. So bye, everyone. Thank you. I will see you next week.